Pinkerton, Weezer, Uncut Reaction on Patreon. You know the deal. Let's get into it. First track is Tired of Sex. Okay. Okay. A lot uglier than the Blue album so far. I mean that in a good way, by the way. Oh. Wow, great riff. Jeez. Okay, so definitely coming into this, I feel like with that track, if that track is any indication, we're getting a lot more of a just explosive album here. I feel like musically that track was a lot more abrasive and hard-hitting than pretty much anything off the Blue album. A lot more ugly and kind of harsh as well. It also just feels like on the Blue album he was just kind of content with just being a loser, I guess is the best way to put it, and he was just kind of finding some beauty in that. This feels a little bit more pushing against that. This very easily could be interpreted as kind of an incel anthem, but it's definitely not here because he's saying I'm tired of having sex, of course, so he's making his own choice to kind of not have sex, obviously. So yeah, obviously living this kind of rock star lifestyle, obviously sex is going to be something that's presenting itself pretty often. I don't know if it is for Rivers Cuomo as much as other musicians, but I feel like it would still be there, you know? I don't know, there's definitely some anger here, there's definitely some resentment towards it, and he kind of, I guess, is pushing away from that lifestyle and more just wants to settle down is the kind of vibe we're getting here. So yeah, this is interesting. We'll see where this goes. Musically, like I said, I think it was a lot more interesting than pretty much anything off of the Blue album. Again, it's that very compressed sound that we had on the Blue album. Really interesting contrast between the first track and this track in terms of just the attitude going on here. I feel like the first track was pretty mature in its mindset, and then you get this that is just very wild and very immature. So I'm a little bit thrown off by that, but also kind of intrigued at the same time. It's beginning to get serious. It used to be game, now it's a crying shame because you don't want to play around no more. He just isn't really taking this that seriously, but again, it gives this kind of desperate vibe. Baby say it's not too late to get you. Weird to have this after the last track, but we'll see where it goes from here. Again, I don't know if this is a concept album or not. I'll keep my mind open to that, see if it is. Maybe the first track was this, if we're following a character here. I don't know. Again, it might not be a concept album, but if we're following a character here, maybe the first track was this character after whatever this relationship he is in here and after he's matured a little bit. Again, I could be wrong on that. I'm just kind of thinking out loud. sad. I feel like Rivers kind of sounds different on this album too. This album came out 2 years later, right? 2 years later, but again, he does just sound, there's a certain kind of youthfulness to his voice, which he might just be putting on for the sake of this character and the sake of the story, but there definitely is kind of a youthfulness to his voice that is kind of really strikingly different than the Blue album. This almost feels like parody in a way of like very immature and toxic pop songs. Again, strangely, that track kind of feels like a parody almost of just this very toxic and very immature idea that is often sung about a lot in pop songs. I was just thinking about this the other day. There was a Justin Bieber song playing on the radio, and it was just like, if I can't be with you, I can't be with anyone. Just that whole idea is very immature and very toxic. Obviously, this feels a little bit more self-aware, and that's why it feels a little bit more like a parody of that idea. My girl's a liar, but I'll stand beside her. She's all I've got. I don't want to be alone. So kind of just staying in this relationship that you know isn't great, but you think there's nothing better out there, you know? I mean, we saw that on the first album that Weezer does tend to, or Rivers Cuomo does tend to write about just like very stereotypical and very just like toxic and just strange people in general. Oh, I love how jagged the guitars and drums on this one are. A very just like staccato kind of rhythm here. A great sense of false. Do I have a lisp? Great sense of false confidence on this track. Really, really great track. Kind of tongue-in-cheek mood and delivery to this one as well. Again, just kind of false self-confidence here, which is kind of funny. Kind of self-deprecating at the same time. Why bother? It's going to hurt me. So he's just like, he knows it's not going to end well, so why even try? But then here, I've known a lot of girls before. What's the harm in knowing one more? It just feels like him battling with his own internal thoughts. Maybe we could even get together. Maybe you could break my heart next summer. It's just like, again, this kind of sense of immaturity. Just these thoughts kind of jumping around in a really sporadic manner in a way that doesn't really make sense, but kind of does make sense when you think of it in a youthful kind of context, I guess. So yeah, interesting. I think that was one of my favorites in terms of the instrumental as well. I haven't really talked about the music much during this album. It does feel a little bit heavier, a little bit more lush and dense instrumentally. I'm not loving the compressed sound once again, but maybe that's just something I got to get used to because I feel like I did kind of get used to it during the Blue album reaction. But I do like how jagged and staccato the riffs on that track were. And it's a nice contrast between the jaggedness, I guess is a word, of the chorus and the kind of more legato and... Why am I using so many, like, music theory terms that doesn't feel right during a Weezer reaction? Kind of drawn out guitar lines during the verses. So nice contrast between those. Bit of a creepy vibe to this one, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. I think the intention of this track is kind of sweet. I just feel like the delivery is just feels a bit creepy and predatory in a way. So I'm not loving it, to be honest. Interesting track, because like I said, I feel like the intention is actually pretty solid, and he's got good intentions. I just feel like the way it comes across is a little bit creepy. I like the idea of finding comfort and finding connection with your fans when you can't seem to find anything else in your life that gives you feeling, that gives you meaning, I guess was what I meant to say. So I think that whole idea is interesting, how you can kind of experience this connection with someone who's across the world, someone who's not near you at all. Even now, today, this is an even more kind of prominent thing with parasocial relationships and stuff like that. So I think him touching on that here is a little bit before its time, which is interesting. I just don't really see the need to this. Just feels, yeah, I don't know. It just leaves a weird taste in my mouth. Okay, editing me here, kind of butting in with some more thoughts on this track. Looking more into detail on this track, I mean, it clearly says in the first line here that it's an 18-year-old girl, so technically, there's nothing technically wrong about this track. Obviously, she's an adult, an 18-year-old girl. I think where I get the predatory and just kind of the creepy feel from is the fact that it is a fan. You know, just that kind of power dynamic makes it feel a little bit weird. So obviously I don't think there's anything legally wrong with what Rivers Cuomo is stating in this track. It just leaves a little bit of a weird taste in my mouth, like I said in that first reaction. Kind of almost a ska feel to this one. I like it. This is great. Oh, slow it down. Oh, and now it feels like, oh, it's like we transitioned into actually getting back to the good life, you know? Kind of feels nostalgic in a way. That was great. That's easily my favorite track so far. Easily. I think the goofiness is there, but it also has a sense of seriousness to it. I love the idea of wanting to go back to a good old life that was like not even that long ago. Like Rivers Cuomo couldn't have been that old when making this, but it's just that idea of feeling like you're getting old when you're not even really that old is just kind of funny. Because he says here, it's been a year or two since I was out on the floor. A year or two, like that's in the grand scheme of things, not that long ago. I don't know. I feel like I kind of relate to this track in a weird way because of that. It's just when you feel like you're getting old, even though you're not that old, it's just a weird feeling that, like, you know, you shouldn't be feeling old, but you do feel old, and for some reason, it just kind of gives this vibe of just a washed up white dude that just wants to go back to his glory days, and his glory days might actually not have been that amazing in the first place. What? Hold on, what are we doing? Someone's gurgling water? Oh no. Oh no. Is this gonna be... Oh no, I'm scared. I feel like I'm missing something here. Not sure what that reference is. Maybe some Green Day lyrics, perhaps? Wait, that would make... Why would they be Green Day lyrics? She said she's never heard of them. That wouldn't make sense. What do I... I'm stupid. Just like reassuring himself here that he's not the issue, you know? She could be into me, maybe she's just scared to say it, you know? El Scorcho. I like it. This album just feels like fake it till you make it, you know? Reassuring himself here. She's probably not into me. Deep down he knows that, but he's just like, you know, maybe she is. Maybe she is. Maybe she's just too scared to say it. Pretty simple song, I feel like, lyrically. Kind of falls in line with a lot of the themes we've talked about so far on the album. I was a little bit worried with this opening line here. Thank goodness we didn't go down some sort of weird racist vibe. This album's a lot funnier than the Blue album, definitely. I'm not sure what the pink triangle is. Don't know what that's a reference to. Okay, I gotta click that. I don't know what that is. Pink triangle. Okay. That's kind of what I thought. Pink triangle is one of the symbols best known to the gay community. That's what I was thinking. I didn't want to just assume that, though. This track is freaking funny. Ugh. This album, a lot less serious, I feel like, than the Blue album, and I think that's why it's succeeding in certain aspects a lot more. Halftime. Oh. Such a good transition. Such a goofy track. I mean, it just reads like a skit in a way. It starts off kind of serious here. When I'm stable long enough, I start to look around for love. He's really yearning for love here. When I mean, there's a funny line here. When I start to feel that pull, I just pulled myself. Like he just literally pulled a muscle, I'm guessing. Which again relates with all the middle-aged white men listening to Weezer that think they're getting old, and maybe they are getting old because they're pulling muscles. She would never go with me, we're the last girl on earth, and then the realization here, and then it just kind of continues from there, diving deeper into it, and it's just, I don't know, it's super funny. I feel like there's not much else to it. Like, you know what you're getting into when the first lyric of a song is "Holy cow." You know it's about to just be the whitest thing you ever heard. Too much, but I'm shaking at your touch. I like you way too much. My baby, I'm afraid I'm falling for you. I do about anything to get the head out of life. Holy moly, baby, wouldn't you know it? Holy moly! Holy cow! Holy cannoli! Oh, very ugly track again, and I think purposefully. This track again, touching on similar themes that were touched on in the first track, kind of struggling with wanting to mature and settle down, but still having this kind of wild side to yourself, and still wanting to be young. I think that's kind of been a central theme to this album, and it's showing up again here. More explicitly here. It hasn't been stated as obviously in other tracks, but I think it has been there. Yeah, I feel like this one's a little bit more genuine in terms of actually falling in love with this person. I mean, there is still a little bit of him like, oh, does she really like me? Because again, she's like, you say like too much. But again, there's nothing really pointing here towards a sign of this person not liking him. Like, again, I don't know, it just feels a little bit more genuine, like maybe he's actually found the one here. I'm gonna take it as that, him just being completely enamored with this person, and how enamored he is just kind of charming in a way. Last track is Butterfly. Yesterday I went outside with my mama's mason jar, caught a lovely butterfly. She had withered all away, no more sighing in her breast. I'm sorry for what I did. Every time I pin down what I think I want, it slips away. And we're getting real serious here. I can't wash away your scent. If I'm a dog, then you're a bitch. Every time I pin down what I think I want, it slips away. Very imperfect vocal performance, but I think it's adding to the emotion a lot. Oh, I like hanging on this chord here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Interesting. Really interesting to finish off this very goofy and ridiculous record on such a serious and personal and heavy-hitting note here. But again, I feel like that's what Weezer does really well, is that they just balance this kind of self-deprecating humor, this unseriousness and goofiness with an underlying feel of deep kind of personal introspection as well. I don't know, it could be about his mother passing away. It's got some beautiful imagery. I went outside with my mom's mason jar, caught a butterfly. When I woke up today, she had withered all away. So kind of alluding to his mother as this beautiful butterfly. I'm sorry for what I did, what my body told me to. It's a reference to some sort of event here, which obviously is not going to let the audience in on, just kind of painting this picture that maybe the relationship wasn't perfect, but there's still that kind of love there. Yeah, I just feel like this is just a really sincere kind of tribute to a lost loved one here. Interesting album. Like I said, I think I enjoy it definitely more than the Blue album. The Blue album was pretty solid, but this one I think takes what I loved about the Blue album and just kind of amplifies it and puts it to the forefront. And that's definitely just like the goofy lyrics, the unserious attitude, the kind of satire, parody kind of feel to everything. But it also, again, just feels like Rivers Cuomo could just be singing about himself as well, which gives it this personal feel. So yeah, I think that's great. I think this was really great. There you go. That was Pinkerton by Weezer. Those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know if I missed anything. Of course, as always, go join the Patreon if you want to see this reaction uncut. There's also an $8 tier where you can request albums, and it's priority requests, so I do your requests first. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I've been wheezed. I've been Weezered. I'm officially Weezered. Okay, is that what you call it when you're a Weezer fan? I don't know. Bye. See ya.